Story 1. People say it is supposed to be effortless, but real relationships take work even when you are with the right person. Story 2. There is someone who is right for you. There may be hundreds or thousands of potential partners, but you will never meet the vast majority of them. Love requires being in the right place at the right time and a great deal of commitment and effort. Story 3. You will not find a perfect prince or princess. You can find someone who is compatible. You work together to build a relationship, and you never stop working. Story 4. It is more subtle than a lie, but the idea of love as a single emotion is nonsense. Psychologists call it a complex emotion. A number of emotions form into a whole. Love contains hate, the process of getting over it, discipline, and growth. There are layers of emotion. It is a chaotic mix of overwhelming feeling. The idea that you only fall in love once is wrong. I consider any new similar feeling to be love. When you think you have seen it all and the person still surprises you in ways both good and bad that culminate in a sense of family, that is love to me. Story 5. Someday you will find the one. So the one has left you. Now what? Story 6. Many people think love is primarily intense passion, constant butterflies in the stomach, and happily ever after without any effort. In reality, the real work and the true miracle begin after the butterflies are gone. Real love is not a feeling but a decision and an action. It is a choice you make every day to be patient, to forgive, to care for one another, and to build a shared reality even when you do not feel like it. Society sells the fairy tale ending and hides the fact that the most interesting part is the whole book you must write together, with all its boring and challenging chapters. Story 7. The idea of a spark. People often chase that feeling without realizing that love is a decision. Story 8. You can't love someone else until you learn to love yourself. As a child, I heard that a lot and could not understand it. Adults meant the actions we take to show love, not just the feeling of love itself. I felt love for others but did not feel worthy of love for myself. Adults told me that unless I learned to love myself, I could not really love anyone else. I took that to mean my feelings and actions were false or manipulative. They were talking about actions, not feelings. Because no one had shown me love in ways I could recognize, I doubted my intentions and labeled my caring behavior as deceitful. I kept asking myself how my loving actions toward others could be real if I did not love myself. As an adult, I have spent more than a decade in therapy and now understand that I always knew how to feel and show love for others. The things I did as a child to express love were intentional and often successful. I was misled by the language and semantics, not by the reality of my love. Learning to love myself has been difficult and important. It has helped me communicate love more clearly and to recognize better ways to care for others. But the actions I took as a child, before I learned to love myself, were still meaningful and authentic. Loving myself made me better at loving others, but it was not the sole determinant of my authenticity or effectiveness. A better way to put it might be, even when you are wounded, you can still love others deeply and wholeheartedly. When you learn to love yourself, the wound becomes part of your wholeness, and that wholeness grows to include the parts that needed your love most. The people who love you can then love your whole heart with their whole hearts, and others can see the strength of your self-love and say, yes, that is how it should be done. But that takes a long time to say. We aren't ants. Story 9. A prince is going to marry me. He will be rich and attractive, and we will live happily ever after. Story 10. Some people think it is an end goal that once you achieve it, you are done. In reality, it is an ongoing process that requires effort and attention. It is not a box to check. Story 11. One true love is a myth. Out of billions of people in the world, most people's one person just happens to live within an hour of their home. Odds are that many people would be at least as compatible, if not more compatible, with someone they will never meet or have the opportunity to get to know than with the person they actually marry. Love is choosing someone you get along with and committing to them. What makes that person special is the time and effort you have both invested. No single quality of one person is entirely unique. Someone else will have it. Story 12. That someone else will complete you. I think that idea ruins so many relationships. Love should be two whole people choosing to share their lives, not two broken people trying to fill each other's gaps. Story 13. It feels good. Patrice O'Neill, rest in peace, had a great routine about the difference between a man liking a woman and a man in love with a woman. It is completely true. When you like someone, you are smiling all the time because you are excited to see them. When you are in love with someone, you constantly have to bat away mental insecurities and the worst possible scenarios that come into your mind. Story 14. The idea that love alone is enough is not true. You can love someone deeply and still be completely wrong for each other. Love needs timing, communication, and respect, all the boring stuff no one writes songs about. The feeling starts it, but the work keeps it. Story 15. There are two big ideas that go hand in hand. That there is only one true person for you and that loving someone now means you will love them forever. Those ideas have trapped countless people in relationships and marriages that should have ended years earlier. We all change, our personalities, priorities, and values evolve. Yet society still clings to the fantasy that a bond formed in your 20s should remain just as strong in your 80s. I am 35 now, and honestly my current self would probably roll his eyes at the kind of person I would have fallen for a decade ago. We need to stop treating breakups and divorces as tragedies. Most of the time it is just two people recognizing they have grown in different directions and would be happier apart. We celebrate changing jobs or moving cities if it improves our lives, so leaving the wrong relationship should be seen the same way. Story 16. You should be in love with the first person you sleep with. Story 17. You should always remain hopeful about finding your true love, even after many mind-shattering breakups. Story 18. This post hits like a philosophical curveball. Every comment peels back layers of romantic comedy conditioning and Hallmark mythology. This love, but brutally honest. Story 19. That it's unconditional. If we're not talking about kids, then all relationships are transactional. Nobody wants to put in effort and get nothing in return. You are expecting something back, and that's fine, but let's not pretend it's some Disney fantasy nonsense. Story 20. Claiming that marriage is somehow not tied to money or social class ignores that its essence, to begin with, is consolidating assets. Story 21. Love is spending 3 months' salary on a diamond. A De Beers advertisement from the 1930s continues to promote this myth as a sign of love. Story 22. You can find your other half. We are all whole. We enjoy having others in our lives, and the ability to be alone is most important. Story 23. Love is different for everybody. It is not a lie. It is just the way it is for someone else. Story 24. It can be even 50 to 50. Sometimes it is 90 to 10. Sometimes it is 10 to 10. When you have nothing left to give, you still hold on. Story 25. It lasts for a while, but not forever. Story 26. It is this over-the-moon romantic feeling, and if or when that goes away, the love is gone. Story 27. Love is not always butterflies and sparks. The honeymoon phase, yes. True love is choosing your partner every day, no matter what. Story 28. Soulmates exist. If someone calls me a soulmate early in the relationship, I run. Story 29. You should not judge a book by its cover. Sometimes there is a prince hiding behind the beast. In my experience, the creature was only wearing the mask of a prince. Story 30. I hope everyone worthy of it will find it. I 100% expect to die without ever having been on a date at this rate. Story 31. The media promises romantic love and promotes it in every form. Most music centers on romance, and the media portrays love as a great encounter, so we forget the value of love from family and friends. You need the love of family and friends too. They are equally fundamental, play different roles, and have their own purpose and kind of magic. Friendship and family love are often underestimated. We are fed the idea that we must find our one, the perfect partner. That fantasy is misleading. Finding a partner is messy, and many romantic relationships fail because love, especially romantic love, is something you build over time. Many people also struggle with attachment issues. Romantic love is not everything, and love from friends and family is undervalued despite offering constant support and shared history. This does not address the heteronormativity in media portrayals of love, which is a separate topic. Story 32. Love is not only romantic. There are different ways of loving someone or something. It can be a light, healthy love, but it can also be a painful love that causes significant emotional strain. Story 33. Some say that things will work out because you deserve love. No one is guaranteed anything. Some people die alone after years of searching. Story 34. Love is a waste of time. At least it should focus more on life. Story 35. People say marriage should always be 50-50. My grandmother, who was married for 70 years, sat me down one day when my wife and I were arguing and said something I will never forget. Love can be 50-50 at times, but sometimes it is 90-10 or 10-90. It will not always be 50-50, and the difference between staying together and divorcing is only a decision. The lows experienced by divorced people are often the same as those of many still married couples. Story 36. That love is about being understood and understanding someone else. It is about respecting someone when you do not fully understand. Story 37. There is an idea that a relationship is supposed to be forever, and if it is not, you are a failure. A friend once said about her divorce, "We learned everything we could from each other." And that really resonated with me. Think of friends who had a huge impact on your life, or people you met who changed the way you look at the world, and you no longer see or speak to them. Are those failed friendships, or was that exactly what the relationship was supposed to be? Story 38. Relationships should be 50-50. In reality, I do not think they always are. Sometimes it is 60-40 or 25-75. Sometimes your partner will need more than they can give, and sometimes you will. Story 39. The saying opposites attract is not so much a lie as a red flag. In attachment theory, we are often drawn to attachment styles that confirm or validate our core beliefs. Instead of opposites attracting, insecure attachments tend to pair with other insecure attachments. Securely attached relationships are the healthiest. Story 40. You have to endure a constant struggle for most of it, and you can only be happy after putting up with bullshit. Story 41. Some people believe there is someone for everyone and that you will meet them eventually. However, not everyone will. Some people remain single or without romantic connection for their entire lives. This has nothing to do with self-love, effort, or self-improvement. It is largely a matter of luck in a numbers game. Story 42. Too many Hallmark movies make it seem effortless and set an unrealistic standard. All relationships take work from both people. As you get older, a person constantly changes and evolves, so a partner must be willing to do the same and accept them for who they are becoming, as long as it is for the better. I am not the same woman I was 5 years ago, and I will not be the same woman in 5 years. Story 43. If they wanted to, they would. One of the reasons my long-term partner and I broke up was that I was too attached to how society perceived love because of the trends. My fault, honestly. I learned that your partner cannot always follow through. They may have the plan and the vision, but circumstances can prevent them from acting. That does not make them a bad partner. Society labels things as red flags after every minor inconvenience, just because someone fails to meet a standard. In reality, it is not like that. Do your thing, folks. Never let society dictate your life. Story 44. Video games made me believe that giving someone 6 boxes of apple juice or a similar gift would make them want to marry you. That was a vast underestimation. The real number is about 8 to 12. Story 45. They say it is pure and that if two people like each other, love will find a way. That is what every Disney fairy tale and movie says. But it is a load of bullshit. Romantic love is the furthest thing from pure. It is completely conditional and requires regular maintenance or it falls apart. Simply being yourself is not enough. You are not enough. All of that was a lie. Story 46. Falling in love and living happily ever after is not enough. It takes work, intention, effort, communication, and consistency. Love works when you choose your partner every day. Story 47. If it is meant to be, it will be. Life is so circumstantial. One does not often get a second chance. Story 48. That it is this earth-shattering, mystical thing instead of the gritty, everyday choice it is. Story 49. I will tell you what they do not tell you about how much it hurts when it goes wrong. Story 50. I don't know if it's a lie, but people misunderstand love. Love is an important emotion, but what matters most is behavior. Feeling love for someone is wonderful, but by itself that emotion benefits only you. You get no credit for it. If that love is not reflected in your behavior toward the other person, it means nothing. Many people excuse harmful actions toward others by pretending it's acceptable because they truly love them. Who cares how you feel if your actions don't support it? Story 51. Love alone is not enough. Effort matters too. Story 52. Kind of too, but the belief that love magically leads to a happy ending, and that being obsessively in love is ideal, overlooks that such obsession can be a sign of anxiety, alienation from a balanced life with a broader community, and unmet needs. Story 53. The biggest lie is that fighting is a normal part of a relationship. There can be disagreements that are talked out, but situations where people are yelling at each other or becoming very angry and heated are not normal, in my opinion. Story 54. The less you have for yourself, the less you will be able to give to others, and somehow that makes sense. Story 55. I would say the idea that sex equals love is misleading, because sex is easier to portray than actual love in visual media. So it is presented as if they are the same. Love is mostly sacrifice. Think of raising children or taking care of elderly people or anyone in need. That is love. Taking a bullet for someone is a one-time act and a profound sacrifice, but caring for a seriously ill, bedridden partner or a partner with Alzheimer's disease for the remaining 20 to 30 years of your or their life is a much harder sacrifice to make. Story 56. Some believe there is exactly one person for everyone and that they are a soulmate. I have had both long-term and short-term relationships with many women, all of whom were remarkable in their own ways. I could have married more than a dozen of them and imagined the lives we would have had. Current laws, rules, and social norms lead many to believe a couple is the only viable relationship model. Yet there are other options that could work if they were not so taboo. Story 57. Love conquers all. I have always been a romantic woman until recently, but that is a different story. Men do what they want and can quit easily at the flick of a switch, treating you like something under their shoe. It is all a joke. Story 58. That man you met in a Hallmark movie will not teach you the true meaning of Christmas the way you thought. Story 59. That people enter relationships out of pure love rather than out of convenience, necessity, or loneliness. Story 60. There is no one soulmate. Nobody is pre-programmed at birth like a computer to be compatible with a specific person. We are humans, not robots. Many people share similar interests, values, and goals. You choose the person you are most attached to and put in the work to make the relationship succeed, and the other person does the same. Story 61. The idea that you can and should only romantically love one person at a time or ever because there is only one soulmate is not universally true. It is fine if you feel that way, but believing everyone is the same is incorrect. Story 62. Saying that choice-based arranged marriages are somehow bad is misplaced, since that is the norm outside the Western world. Story 63. For men, personality is often thought to be the most important factor in maintaining a healthy relationship. In reality, it ranks about fourth in importance after physical appearance, wealth, and social status. For women, many believe that men care about a woman's professional career or achievements. Story 64. They say you need money to maintain it. You do not. You need a child. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.